What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It is Will, that is Casino, and we are on the only sports podcast. That's right, the only sports podcast that exists. They might have radio, they might have TV, but we have and own the podcast space. We are here to recap a crazy week 5 Casino. You got 9 games right. I only got 5 games right. So you are killing me in the weekly picks. But yeah, just before we dive into the games, what was your overall thoughts on week 5 as a whole?
The season's unpredictable. I mean, every season is unpredictable. Otherwise, everybody makes so much money. But it's just, this year's been wild. Games that seem like gimmies aren't games that are gimmies. You know what I mean? That aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just wild. I think the big mix of all the different players and coaches has really just made this season up for grabs almost.
This is my first question of the week, Casino, which is, people talk so much shit about the Eagles being undefeated and not having played anybody. So my question to you is, who actually has had a hard schedule up to this point based on opponent?
Oh, well, I mean, I've because everybody, I don't know everybody's schedule off the top of my head.
Well, no, this was a trick question, Casino, because no one has. I wrote down.
Okay, exactly. All right. So you're
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I wrote down 13 games that are hard, quote unquote, hard games. Are any of these good wins 5 weeks into the season? We'll start week 1. Vikings killed the Packers. The Packers have not looked like the usual Packers. They just lost to the Giants in London. The Vikings got destroyed by the Eagles, almost lost to the Lions. Is that a good win? Vikings destroying the Packers? Yes or no?
No, Packers are awful.
Next up, let's fast forward to this week. The Cowboys beat the Rams 22-10. Is that a good win?
After what the Rams have shown 5 weeks in, no, not really.
I don't believe so either, because let's go back to week 1. We had the Buccaneers beating the Cowboys 19-3, and we also had the Bills destroying the Rams 31-10. So we have all this shit, right? And then we also have a bunch of we have a bunch of the Bengals games where the Cowboys destroyed the Bengals, and then the Dolphins beat the Bengals, the Bengals beat I have so many games here. No, and then it's the Dolphins beat the Bills. Remember that. And then it's like the Packers beat the Bucks. So this talk of like, nobody's had the Eagles are still undefeated. They haven't had a hard schedule. No one has had a hard schedule because there's no good team in this league in the NFL. I'm going to debut in this episode, Casino, my top 8 list plus 2. Most people have top 10 lists. I have a top 8 list plus 2. Okay. And once you get past, for me, it's like once you get past 5, everybody could just be up in the air. You could make a case for literally anybody. And I think that's the overall takeaway from week 5 is just, I don't know who's a good team, who's a bad team. And it seems like every week, just everybody's just playing another football team. And then we just throw our hands up and go, I don't know who's going to win this. Like, how many weeks can we have where we pick 10 games right, and then the next week we pick 5 games right? Like, we just keep alternating. It doesn't make sense. But yeah, that was just a full setup.
Good opening rant. Good opening rant.
Thank you.
We need more BJ rants, William rants, whatever you want to be called.
I don't care.
BJ.
Wait.
We need more BJ rants. I get excited every time I tell the wife, like, oh, group chat, BJ rant. She's like, rolls her eyes, and I'm like, no, I thrive off of these. I look forward to these daily. It spices up my day.
It took 5 weeks for my internet to be fucking attached to a toaster, much like yours, Casino, before I decided to actually write down my notes. And I wrote down so many notes this week. You want to hear a rant? Wait till we get to the Rams, Cowboys, and the Eagles, Cardinals talk, because I'm done. I'm over it. I can't do it. But those are the late games. Let's talk about the first game this week, which is a shocker, maybe. I don't know. The Giants end up beating the Packers in London. Thoughts on this game, Casino? I know the Giants are your team. Are the Giants legit? They've been your boys on this podcast.
I picked Green Bay to win on this one. I knew I should have picked the Giants.
I know. I could tell you were. When I was watching this game, I was like, I bet Casino is wishing he would have picked the Giants, because I know you wanted to.
They're awful, but they're not. But are they? But they're not. What's going on? Are they just getting the good, the luck end of the shit? Or I don't fucking know, man. But I was really, really happy though with this outcome, even though I can't stand the Giants. Being a Pats fan, they beat the Pats twice in the Super Bowl. I can't stand New York. I'm mostly, Massachusetts teams. So fuck New York. But I'm so happy. Like, I'm so happy the Rodgers lost and the Green Bay lost.
Dude, especially the way he lost.
I know.
Just two batted down passes right within the red zone.
Yeah, you had it right there at the end of the game. You had it. Ugh.
Anyway, so I knew we both don't like Rodgers, so I came in with some Rodgers notes for you. End of the game, as we just said, third and fourth down, both passes on Rodgers. He just tries to sidearm like sling it. The balls both get knocked down. So are his wide receivers not going to talk to him for a week, right? Because that's what he does to them. So this is karma for just being a dickhead. He was 0-6 on deep throws of 20 plus yards. So he has no deep threat. He has no wide receivers. Everybody knew that coming into the season, but the consensus was, it's Aaron Rodgers. He'll figure it out. Well, apparently he hasn't, because the fourth quarter alone, he was like 7 for 14, 50 yards, like nothing. And they
outside of touchdowns, Daniel Jones had a better passing game than Rodgers.
Yeah. And also Daniel Jones is throwing to, I think the Giants and Packers have similar claim for worst wide receiver group in the league. Like the Giants have Darius Slayton.
And then so Darius Slayton, and then the next person is Barkley with six targets, 3 receptions. They have no other receivers besides Slayton.
Remember, they gave
a running back.
They gave all that money to to Megatron Light from the Giants, Kenny Golladay, and he's gone. He's complete. Ooh. He might as well not be on the team. But the Packers at one point were up 17-3 in this game and blew that to lose 27-22. I'm just done with the Rodgers is the best quarterback. He doesn't need anybody else. Like, he's always had good defenses. He's always had competent offenses. And it's just, he just doesn't get it done. I don't know where this narrative is of like him just being a top 5 all-time quarterback. No way, man. No way.
Not even close. Like, you can't. No. Top 10, sure, whatever. But
I would even push back on that. Top 10. I
said maybe.
But now we go to, let's just talk about your team, Casino. 29-0. My boy, oh shit, who's the Lions quarterback?
Goff?
My boy Jared Goff, 19 for 35, 229 yards, 1 INT. He did not look good. Why are the Lions going for it on 4th and 9 at midfield when they're down 6-0? Like,
I don't know. The Pats stopped them 3 times on the 4th. Ooh. So here's the thing. I picked the Pats. I talked about it last episode. The Pats were going to be able to put up some points because the defense is so bad. Even with the third stringer, they were going to put up
Yes.
some points because somehow they are with that bad offense that they have. They're still putting up points. And because easily the Patriots could be 4-1. Like they are very close. Ravens game again, they blew it at the end, and then they went to OT against, and I blame that on Belichick for not going for it 4th and 1 on the fucking 50-yard line. Anyway, but so I knew that was going to be a thing, but man, I didn't, and I knew the defense was going to be good, but holding that offense to 0.
Yeah.
Oof.
They were the number
Oof.
one offense in the league going into this game, and now they have fallen all the way down to number 3. So, yeah, but that defense still, I believe they are 31st in the league, with Seattle being the worst defense. But the real story of this game was Ramondre Stevenson, 25 carries, 121 yards. They just ran it down their throat. I mean, this is, I
I'm
don't
so
know.
happy. No, I think I've talked about this. Yeah, Ramondre Stevenson came from my high school here in town.
Really?
He went to my high school here in town, and the Pats picked him up, and that's going to be the jersey I'm getting. I'm very excited, and my little brother had classes with the guy.
Really?
Yeah,
This might be.
It's so cool. Yeah.
This might be shocking, but me and Casino actually went to the same high school, so I did not know that. Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know he went to our high school. That's nuts. But
yeah, man.
My one question to you for this Patriots-Lions game: the Patriots currently are 2-3, which are bottom of the AFC East, but they're only one game behind the Jets and the Dolphins, and the AFC wildcard spot wide open, right? Obviously, Bills are going to win that division, probably going away with it. But can this Patriots team make the playoffs?
I think so. Especially, there's already talks out there with OBJ being out on the market coming up. Where would he land? I think that is a good spot because he would be coming in as the number one. He would be coming in as the number one receiver, hands down.
Yeah. Do you think he would choose
the Jacoby Myers back? He came out and he had a strong game, but I think we missed. We honestly, this is not me being a biased fan. I think if we had Jacoby Myers against the Ravens and against Green Bay, we would be 4-1 right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
they
possibility.
They needed a receiver that knew how to control the ball, hold on to the ball, and actually can get open and not drop passes, and that's what killed us.
Yeah. Do you think OBJ would choose Patriots over Packers? Because Packers seem to be the leading candidate for him.
I would be surprised if he did go Patriot way. He wants to be. Well, you know what? I don't know, because he may be overshined by Rodgers if he went to Green Bay.
That's a good point.
They would talk more about Rodgers and OBJ with having his ego. He may want
all the spotlight.
He wants the spotlight, and if he goes to the Pats, he 100% would have the spotlight.
Yeah,
there's nobody there that outside of the defensive players, there's nobody on offense that will take the spotlight away from him. Not a single person. Nobody could come close.
I mean, that's true.
I do think the Patriots, like I've been saying, the Pats aren't going to do it. The AFC East is going to take up 2 of those spots, yada yada. Well, the Pats are right in it. I mean, if they string together, 2 more wins in a row, and we're 5-3, or no, we'd be 4-3. I mean, we're sitting close.
Well, especially then it comes down to, do you trust the Jets? Obvious, the question is no. And then Miami, they might have a 3rd string quarterback. Who knows what's going on with their offense? Like, yeah, this door is kind of creaking open slightly more and more each week for the Patriots. And like you said, they look good against a Packers team, which who knows how good that Packers team is.
Not just for the Patriots, but other AFC teams that, weren't expected to do it, because the Dolphins were expected to go and crush it. Make a wild card run. You had 2 out of the AFC West that were going to make a wild card run. And then you have those likes of Bengals, Tennessee. Like, so
Yeah.
there's a real shot here that the door's open. The door's open. It's not blown off the hinges, but it is definitely cracked open. And now I'm a little bit more excited about what I saw with the Patriots and moving forward.
Yeah.
There's not really much to talk about Detroit besides we thought they were going to be so much better with that offense, and they are good, but they got a lot on defense they need to fix.
Again, if they just had an average defense, I mean, this game, their offense did nothing, but still, they would be in a much better spot if their defense was just average. But it's going back and forth.
They could be 4-1. We could
Yeah.
beat an undefeated team if they had an average defense.
Yeah. But
Anyway.
let's move on to I know a game both you and I watched, which is the Los Angeles Chargers, Cleveland Browns. Chargers end up winning 30-28. Man,
I'm so upset with this game because I picked Cleveland to win.
I know.
And they had it to win. Can you trust Jacoby Myers anymore?
Or Jacoby
Did
Brissett.
You see that? That's what I mean. Jacoby Brissett at the very end of 3 games in a row, he's thrown picks within the last 5
So
minutes.
he has a goal line INT in the 4th with 3 minutes left.
3 minutes.
That is thrown into triple coverage. Nobody even around the ball. If he would have ran, he would have picked up probably 5 yards, and it would have been
at least the first down. He would have
Yeah.
at least got the first down.
Especially because the play right before that INT, he does this crazy escape the pocket scramble for a first down, and everybody's like, oh my God, Jacoby Brissett, like showing what he's made of, gonna lead his team to victory. And then he just throws a bonehead, just garbage. This was a Carson Wentz-esque goal line INT.
And this is why he's he should be a backup. I mean,
Well,
I like Jacoby Myers a lot. I do.
you keep saying Myers.
God damn it. Well, I'm excited that Jacoby Myers came out. Jacoby Brissett. I'm so happy that Jacoby Brissett, I like the guy. I think he's a good quarterback, but
Yeah.
he needs this just shows his little bit of inexperience. But
This just shows how much better before we get to the Chargers, my question with the Browns is how much better do you realistically think this team will be when Watson comes back? Because we saw Watson on many Texans teams where those Texan teams were loaded and they were still like what 4-12? Like,
I'll be honest, I don't think it's going to change, or it may be worse.
I
when
agree.
was the last time Watson played?
3 years, I think, at least.
Dude,
like
it's this notion that they think that anybody thinks that he's going to come back in and just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to pick up where I left off again. Where he left off wasn't always, he still had talent and he couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah,
I honestly think it would hurt them whenever he comes back in.
He doesn't come back till week 13. Like that's like it's week 5. That is so long to just all of a sudden in week 13 just switch over your entire offense to a different quarterback. Yeah. Like and again, Jacoby Brissett's good, but he just keeps doing this shit where it's just like, man, like why? If again he would have slid, he would have dove, he could have just thrown the ball out of bounds.
If he would have walked,
yeah,
he had a blocker out in front for him.
But then we get, I mean, the Browns.
Oh, and also the Browns, they had the chance to win that game and then they shanked the kick. So
let's talk about that. First off, that starts with the Chargers going for it on 4th and 2, leading the game on their own 45-yard line. The Chargers at that point were up by 2. So you're going for it on your side of the field, on your 45. For a 4th and 2, you're doing a passing play when you're down by 2. The Browns need a field goal, not to tie, to win the game. And it was, I believe, like a minute 30 left in the game when they're doing this. Is Brandon Staley a good coach?
I mean, I don't even know what's going on with coaches this last week. There was last night, especially, there's some horrible play calling. Like, are they just, what's going on? Are they just trying to impress the fans? And be
Dude,
like,
I don't understand the analytics, but
so,
there is
so
no
I mean,
way in hell
is he a good
analytically
coach?
this makes sense to go for this. Like,
No,
what are
it
you
does
doing?
not at all, not at all. I mean, and he's a good coach. I mean, I don't think he's a bad coach, but like, what was this decision? I mean, we're gonna get on to last night's game, but what was this decision? Like, yeah, I just couldn't. It blew my mind. It blew my mind.
Well, he was saying he believed in his defense. He clearly didn't, because then
No,
you wouldn't be going for it. They have
no,
the
because you could
23rd.
have pinned them. You could have pinned them within the 10-yard line
Yeah.
easily.
And again, you have the 23rd ranked defense, but you're going up against Jacoby Brissett. You're not going up against Patrick Mahomes. You're not going up against somebody who you're scared of in the fourth quarter to lead this team back. You just saw Jacoby Brissett, when he got down to the red zone, just do like a boneheaded INT. So giving him time, but again, Chargers got bailed out just by what, a shanked kick, like that was like at the like a 40, or no, it was I think like a 40 something yard kick, but
It wasn't outrageous.
no, he should have made that. It should have, Browns should have won this game by 1. Instead, they lose by 2 to Chargers, who just got bailed out, because that was one of the
if
dumbest.
they missed the playoffs wild card off of one game, Jacoby Brissett
Yeah.
is definitely not going to be in a good place mentally.
Anyway,
Anyway,
but still, last question on this game, Casito.
Yes.
Are you worried about the Chargers?
Yeah, no, I've been telling you. Like, I mean, they need to figure their. I mean, yes, I'm still worried about the Chargers. Could they still pull off, a good season, get a wild card and get in? Yes, because it's clear who's going to win that division. The Chiefs are going to win that division.
Oh, probably running away with it, which we didn't think would happen.
Right, but I do think the Chargers. I mean, they're, like you said, for the Patriots, the door is cracked open. Well, the Chargers, they're standing in that crack, like they're already there.
Yeah,
so they're not in a bad spot, but they still have a lot of uphill battling they have to do for the rest of the season.
Well, and it's just for them, it's their offense is fine. It's their defense, and every defensive playmaker they basically have, from Joey Bosa to Derwin James to you want to name it, like, is either injured or fighting through injury to stay in. They're getting hurt along the offensive line, which you could definitely see in this game, that the Browns are able to get at least a little bit of pressure on Herbert. But man, and then for the Browns, like your Patriots, the Browns, the Cowboys, they all just win the same way, or they have to win the same way, right? Which is just great running game, good to great offensive line, and then just like plain defense. And the Browns defense is,
well, that's saying something, because the Pats offensive line is awful.
Oh, well, yeah. But the Browns defense is 19th in the league, which is why they gave up 30 points to a banged up Chargers team. So I don't know what to think. I think the Chargers could sneak into the AFC, because as we went through the AFC, I mean, everybody's just doesn't feel like a good team, and they fit in that mold. But the Browns could also sneak in there. They have the capability to, with that running game, or that running duo. But let's move on to the next game on the docket, which is Texans Jaguars. I don't think there's much to say about this game. I just had one question that I wanted to ask you, Casino. Did the Eagles break Trevor Lawrence's spirit? Because since that Eagles game, he just looks bad. And remember, before that Eagles game, everybody was like, Trevor Lawrence, he's in MVP contention. He's going to like sweep the league and kill everybody in the AFC North. And now he was 25 for 47, 286 yards, 2 INTs against the 0-3-1 Texans before this game. Like,
yeah, no, confidence is shattered a bit. I don't know. I thought this one was an easy in the bag call for both of us. We both picked the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This was also a game I did not watch 1 second of.
Nope, not one. We even said that we wouldn't.
No. And final score is 13-6. I'm glad I didn't watch it. Texans really did nothing on offense. I really think everything coming out of this game is on the Jaguars side. It's also just the disappearance of James Robinson. Because remember, the first 3 weeks of the season, he was like the number 1 running back in the league, and he was lighting it up. And since that Eagles game, he's kind of disappeared as much as Lawrence has. So their offense has just went from explosive to putting up 6 points against a winless Texans team. Like, is the AFC South the worst division this year in football?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's even a question. I think, like, who comes out of
that? I
that?
don't even know why you asked me that.
In that division, Titans are 3-2, Colts are 2-2-1, Jaguars are 2-3-0, Texans are 1-3-1. The Colts and Texans feel way worse than their records. The Jags feel like they've lost all momentum, and I don't know what to make of the Titans.
They're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they win that division, but just because who else would win that division? I don't trust the Colts at all. We saw them put up 12 points against the Broncos on Thursday, which we talked about last episode. But let's go to maybe one of the biggest games talked about after the fact is Falcons Buccaneers. Buccaneers win 21-15. Casino, please make a case for why that was roughing the passer on the love of your life, Tom Brady.
No comment. Can I get a lawyer?
So, as a lifelong Patriots fan, did this bring back flashbacks of him just getting fucking bullshit calls to get another shot to win the game? Because this was hands down garbage.
No. Did you see his interview? They asked him about it in the interview afterwards, and he was like, I don't throw the flags. And there's something like that. And it's just like, I mean, and you know what? I think it's just his status. And the refs are nervous around him because of his status.
Yeah. It's also because he threw a little hissy fit when he was on the ground and acted like he got tackled from the stands by a fan, and there was 9 people who could have stopped him, and they just let him get to Tom Brady. Like, you realize you're playing football where people are trying to tackle you, right? So when you get tackled, I don't know why you're throwing a hissy fit.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, yes, I mean, that was outrageous, but I still don't think Atlanta would have won that game.
No, but it would have given them a shot. And they were only down by 6. So a touchdown wins that game.
No, a touchdown would tie the game. Know your points.
Oh, that's true. And then extra point, they would win by 1. But
you call yourself a sports
but so the officiating crew and the referee who called this play or called this penalty, he was on the Bills-Ravens game last week where also Josh Allen got that bullshit roughing the passer call when he didn't deserve it. So do you think this is in reference to the Tua concussion protocol where the league is basically like, we don't want people hitting the quarterbacks?
I really do think so. At to some level, whether the whole officiating group, NFL wide got together and they were like told, hey, really, we got to protect the quarterback. Look what happened to Tua. We got to make sure this doesn't happen, even though that was on the Dolphins for putting him back out there, yada, yada, yada. I think let's just say this, even if they didn't say that, it's still in all of the refs' heads that they don't want to be the person to not call that. But that was an egregious call. That was so mind-blowingly wrong. There's going to be some rule changes to roughing the passer going into next season.
Oh, 100%. It's a bad call when I haven't seen one person try to defend it. Like, and on the internet where everything is at least at minimum of 50-50 discourse, I've seen 100% across the board people being like, that's not roughing the passer. I don't even know what the guy's name was, Grady Jarrett. I don't even know what he's supposed to do in that situation. Do you just run into the quarterback and just like bounce him off you? Like, they said he whipped him to the ground, but it literally just looked like he was turning. Like, I don't know.
He was turning because Brady could have gotten out of that, and there you go.
Yep.
Made it play.
Is this call more egregious, or was the one last night, Monday Night Football, more egregious?
This one, 100%.
I think it was too, because it decided the game. Like, this is like the Bucks would have had to punt it after here.
This one you can't, and I'll talk about last night, but you can't really have a point on either side of this one. This one was just so clearly wrong.
Yeah.
So clearly wrong.
Yeah.
Last night's one, I'll talk about what I could see from both sides. This one absolutely does not make sense.
No, I don't understand this at all. I don't even think. And the thing is, this game wasn't even interesting. It wasn't good. I kept flipping between this one and a couple other ones. But
Atlanta started to come back, but it was still not interesting.
No, Marcus Mariota was kind of just average. He was getting it done on the ground. He had some nice runs. He was 7 for 61 carries for 61 yards. He was 14 for 25, 147 and a touchdown. So Falcons, they were in this the whole game, and especially against that Bucks.
I don't think Falcons are as bad as we've talked about on them.
They're fun to watch too. I don't mind watching the Falcons. They're at least interesting.
And again, we've talked about this. There's something about Marcus Mariota that I just want to watch.
I agree.
Interesting.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, Falcons, at least they didn't get robbed of a victory, but they got robbed at the potential victory. Like, they had a shot. And yeah, I don't know. That is just egregious. Let's go to our next game. This one, really nothing to talk about here, Casino. Bills win 38-3 against the Steelers. Steelers might be the worst team in the league, which I don't think a lot of people saw that coming, but they just look anemic. And I feel bad. I feel real bad for Kenny Pickett, because I wrote this down. This has been who he has had to face so far in this league. Where did I put that?
I could pull it up.
Here we go. He has had to go against the Jets defense, which sneaky good, first sneaky of the day. So if you had money on that, there you go. Top 10 defense in the Jets, sneaky good defense. The Bills, the Bills' second best defense in the league. Tampa Bay, sixth best defense in the league, and then the Dolphins don't have a good defense, and then he has to face the Eagles, who are the fourth best defense in the league. So literally in his first 5 starts, he is playing a top 10 defense, a top 6 defense, a top 4 defense, and the number 2 ranked defense. Like, could you put a rookie quarterback into a worse set of games? Like, that is insane.
That's a tough slate.
My last thing is Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs, are they the best wide receiver duo in the league? Gabe Davis had that crazy 98-yard bomb, and then he had that like 50-yard touchdown where he just rips it out of Minkah Fitzpatrick's hands in the end zone. That should have been an INT, but that's a crazy play, because they're wrestling with it for what felt like
both players had full possession of that ball. That's the crazy thing. They both had it just like this, and then the other ones were like this, and it was just like, okay, well, who grabs, like, whoever grabs the ball, it's either an interception or a touchdown.
Yeah,
that was fun to watch in slow-mo, especially.
Oh yeah, and they were legitimately fighting for it, and then Gabe Davis just did one move where he just rips it out. But so we've talked about, is our Steelers the worst team in the league? Are the Bills the best team in the league?
I still say out of the AFC, yes.
Ooh,
I still have your Eagles going, dude, they're good in every aspect of the game, and they will find a way to win. Yes, yes, they came back. The Arizona came back and made it really interesting, but the Eagles, they make sure they win so far. They've not proven us otherwise this season. So I think the Eagles are right now the best team in the league. But do I still have the Bills winning the whole thing? Yes.
I mean, we'll see who I think is the best team of the league when I debut my top 8+2 list at the end of this review, but a recap of this week. Casino, next up, maybe the most shocking, not shocking turn of events is the Miami Dolphins New York Jets game where we literally
motherfucker. I told you, I called this.
We literally called this last podcast where we said something is going to happen to Teddy Bridgewater. They're going to be overly cautious and he's not going to be allowed back in the game. Literally happened 3 minutes into the game. He gets knocked on the ground. It's clearly he doesn't have a concussion. It was not the Tua thing. He stood up. He's walking of his own accord. He's waving to the fans. He looks perfectly fine. Gets taken out for the rest of the game because obviously the Dolphins are like, we're not doing this shit again. All the spotlight is still on us. And then they put in a 7th round pick named Skylar Thompson, who had what you would expect us. He actually did better than what you think someone drafted in the 7th round would do. He was 19 for 33, 166 yards and an INT, but nothing to write home about. And then that motherfucker on the other side, the literal motherfucker, 14 for 21, 210, and a rushing touchdown. I mean,
number one on the field, number one in our hearts, that motherfucker himself.
But Casino, are the Dolphins, are they done just because of the Tua Bridgewater?
100%. I think there's too much cloud going over that organization. They may have some decent games here and there because, I mean, still they have a lot of really good players, but
yeah,
there's no way Tua is going to be out for a while.
Even
when he's done with his concussion protocol, he's out for a while. I still don't see him coming back. It's right away, like a normal concussion. They're going to save it an extra couple games, in my opinion, to make sure that he's okay. Because God forbid, he clears concussion protocol like a normal time span. He goes back out there, he gets hit again, and the dude dies. He's brain dead and a vegetable or whatever. Like, God forbid that happens. If that happens.
Oh, yeah. It's like investigations into the league as a whole and all this kind of shit comes out about that. But
I think we're going to be there already.
Oh, I think so too. But I'm saying if it gets to that extreme, like you're talking about, like that's going to be real bad, not just for the Dolphins, but for the league as like a whole.
Down.
Yeah.
League shut down.
But I think the Miami Dolphins, they were 3-2, they're 3-2 now, but even before that, they kind of had like a middling offense. We obviously saw that Ravens-Dolphins game where Tua had 6 touchdowns, and I think that kind of skewed what their offense was. Their offense is average. It's gotten worse each week since Tua's been out, but their defense has kind of consistently been bad. They're 25th ranked defense, and now their offense is 16th and kind of slowly slipping back every week. So I think this is instance where, remember, the Dolphins were the last team.
Didn't you pick the Dolphins though this
for
week?
What? Oh no, I did. I thought because I thought Bridgewater would be able to beat this Jets team, but this Jets team, they kind of look like the Giants, which is they look really...
a little sneaky.
Well, there's nothing sneaky about the Jets defense. Jets defense is legit. They're top 10. They could potentially be a top 5 by the season end. Jets defense is good. And then when I was doing fantasy football at the start of the season, I never read one positive article about Breece Hall, the rookie running back for the Jets. On ESPN, before you drafted every player, it would give you the boom or bust odds for them at the beginning of the season. For some reason, he was like at a boom potential of like 10% and a bust potential of like 30%. And that was the biggest.
That's 40% total.
Well, they would just have like, they wouldn't do 100% boom, 100% bust. They would just give you percentages of what each of those would be. His was, and it was usually like 24, 24 bust, 25 boom, and it was always close. His was so skewed, like it was like stuck out as just weird. So I avoided him at all costs. He's good. He had 18 carries, 97 yards, 1 touchdown. He had that great goal line run where he's like getting his face ripped off and he's still put in for a touchdown. I like this. Dare I say it? This Jets team, sneaky good, Casino. Sneaky good. I like this Jets team. Also, Bryce Hall, 2 receptions, 100 yards. He had almost 200 yards from scrimmage. He could have been on my fantasy team, but I believe the experts.
You wouldn't have picked him anyway.
Sons of bitches. Sons of bitches. Next up, Casino, we are going to, if I can pull up my thing right here, we are going to Bears Vikings. This game had a absolute, I've never seen a game end like this. Like his name is Cameron Dantzler, and he misses the tackle. The Bears are driving down the field to potentially win the game. He misses the tackle, comes back up behind the guy, strips the ball out of his hands, runs backwards. Vikings get the ball back and they run the clock out. That crazy ending. How the Vikings are winning these games, like they're doing it in different ways every single week. Last week, they came back from 10 points against the Lions. Now they're winning on a strip run back, like on the potentially last play of the game. Like, is this, are the Vikings good?
I still think so. I mean, we've talked, man, dang it, my phone. I still think so. I mean, they're 4-1. I know that games have been close, but they are finding ways to win, and they're doing it in a prettier fashion than, let's say, like the Green Bays or whatnot. Like they're still showing better fight. I do think that Minnesota's still good. And I know I picked Green Bay to win that division. And obviously I stick by my picks, but Minnesota, they have a real good shot.
Yeah, their offense is top 10 in the league. Obviously, this week their offense is all Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson, who both are in contention for best wide receiver in the league, best running back in the league. And then you have Kirk Cousins, who is, when he's good, he's good. When he's bad, he's real bad. And this game wasn't in prime time. So this one, he was pretty good, but yeah, their defense is 25th in the league, or 24th in the league. I'm sorry. So I don't trust that defense. And we've seen them give up big leads to, obviously they lost to the Eagles, where the Eagles dropped 24 on them. They did real good against that Packers team. The Packers team had no answer for them whatsoever, but they almost lost to the Lions, but the Lions offense is really good. So I don't know what to make of this team.
Well, I don't know what to make of this season. As you said from the beginning, like, what's my thoughts? Like this season's wild. It's wild. And we talked about that there's that potential that it could have been this season, this season in our first step. I do think that they're still good.
I do too. Well, especially like you're saying in this league right now, 4-1, like everybody's either 2-3 or 3-2. So to be 4-1, that game they lost, they got destroyed in, but then they destroyed other teams. So I don't know what to make of this Vikings team. Again, they've got destroyed. They destroyed one. They came back. They won on the last play. So, I love
that everybody's 2 or 3 or 3 or 2.
It does make it interesting.
Outside of the clear, people that are going to win their divisions. But as you said, the wild cards, like, 5 weeks in right now, it's a 1 game bubble.
Yeah, pretty much for everybody. Yeah. We can eliminate the Texans, but then they just won, so they still have a chance. So who knows? But let's move on to Titans at Commanders. Really nothing to talk about.
These next few we could probably just blow through until last night's game, because there's a lot that we need to talk about non-game wise.
So let's see. For this Titans Washington, only note I wrote for this is Wentz being Wentz. 3 straight passes on the goal line into tight double or triple coverage. 3 passes in a row, and then he finally gets picked off trying to throw in a tight window on the goal line.
And as you've said before with Wentz, like his numbers, his stats, they look okay. Like 25 for 38, that's not the best, but he threw for 360 yards, 2 TDs, only 1 interception. And
but it's always
he loses.
It's always those really good stats, but then you watch the game and you're always just like, why are you holding onto the ball that long? Why are you fumbling that much? Why are you throwing that kind of interception? It's always 100%. Like he's a stat guy, and then you watch the games and he does 3 things in the game where you're like, those are the 3 reasons why they lost. This one, it was just the goal line passes. He's literally trying to do the same pass 3 times in a row. Like the defense isn't going to figure it out. Like, what are you doing? And Titans, I still don't know what to make of the Titans. I don't know if they're good, but
if Derrick Henry has a good game, they win. If Derrick Henry doesn't, they lose.
Yeah, pretty much. Now the next 2 games, I don't really have any notes for. Saints Seahawks. Saints win 32-30 or 39-32.
Just because it was a lot of scoring. Besides that,
I don't know is there any comparable player to Taysom Hill? It just seems like he'll be gone for 5 games and then he'll come back with a game like this.
Yeah, and he'll play like 5 different roles in the game and be like, oh, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
But then watch next week.
Overrated.
Next week he'll come back and have 30 yards. Like, I don't know what to make of him. I don't know what you do with Taysom Hill.
He's overrated, just like sliced bread is.
All right, so let's move on to 49ers Panthers. 49ers win 37-15. Casino, are the 49ers I know you said the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. Are the 49ers the second best team in the NFC?
The Niners are back, baby. I think having Jimmy G back is the right move here.
Oh yeah, I don't think this team would be anything near what it is if it still had Trey Lance in there.
Oh no.
And Jimmy G played good this game. He made some
he's
good
fighting
throws.
For his life here. He's fighting for his career.
Yeah, pretty much.
He got a shot to get back in there, and now he has to do it.
Well, and he figured out that basically no other team wants him. So it's like 49ers or bust. He was 18 for 30, 253, and 2 touchdowns.
Nobody wanted him because they weren't sure how his arm was going to be. I'm sure now they're like, okay, he can throw the football. People would offer for him.
Well, how about the Panthers? They definitely need a quarterback because I think this is officially the game where Baker Mayfield's done. Matt Rule, the coach, got fired the day after this game. He got fired on Monday. So who knows who's going to be the Panthers coach? I don't think they've said who's going to be the interim, but Baker Mayfield. At least
I haven't seen it yet.
20 for 36, 215 yards, an INT. That INT was bad. He double pumped and then threw the ball way too hard. It goes right through the guy's hands, over his head, into just a 49er that was sitting right there. I did check in on this game between Eagles commercial breaks. The 49ers, Casino warned me before we started recording that he would have to get up to flip a quesadilla. So that's what this is right now. So 49ers, I do think are back. I think they have a good case to be the best team in the NFC, at least, because their defense is a monster. They are top. The 49ers with this game elevated themselves to the number 1 defense in the league. And then their offense.
I know, I picked them up. Bam.
I mean, that's a good call. And then their offense is 20th in the league. But I think their offense can basically be top 15 in the league. Like, it can be average with Jimmy G, and then they can basically plug whoever they want in at running back and run it down people's throats. So yeah, I think the Niners are back. I think they have a case for top team in the NFC. except for my Eagles, which let's go to that game, Casino. Eagles at Arizona, they win 20-17. What are your thoughts on this game before I do my
So
rant?
I wasn't able to watch any of this game. My NFL Sunday Pass had it blacked out, and it wasn't on TV for us.
That's weird.
At my
Yeah,
at
because
my-
our game was the Cowboys Rams was the one that was on our like local station here.
yeah, and
So-
there was nothing on CBS, which is weird. They only had the Fox game going, or
Yeah.
vice versa.
No, this was on Fox. The Rams Cowboys was on Fox, and so was this because they get the NFC.
Right, but whichever game was the CBS game, we didn't get here on local TV, which was weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I'll put this in your feet, man. So here, I'll ask you this, because what's your thoughts on this team? Because you texted me Jalen Hurts is a living god, and then like an hour later, you're like, this team sucks. I hate my team.
I did not text you that.
No,
I did.
Let's see what you said.
Yes.
See what you said.
I definitely said that Jalen Hurts is a living God thing because he did some plays and some throws and some runs in this game that not many people can make. And now, Casino, I will be right back. Talk about this game. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So I get this text message, he goes, "Wow, the Eagles just got yeah, he's a living God." And he also doesn't matter the coaching group. I swear to God, the Eagles do more bubble screen, tight end screens, and swing passes out of the backfield than every team combined. I fucking hate it. And then keeps going. Eagles win on a motherfucking shank by the Cards kicker. Woo woo. So all I get is just BJ. Oh, so what I said, BJ, is basically you talked about the bubble screens and the tight end screens. And
oh my God, I can't. I can't.
You're just all up and over. And so that's when I looked into the game and I saw the Cards were coming back, and I was like, oh, now he's getting angry. He's getting angry.
I mean, there is at least a reason for the screens and the tight end screen. I've literally never seen any other team do it once, let alone how much Doug Peterson did it 10 times a game. And it was frustrating and it was annoying. But this new regime seems to have carried that offense over because they do so many wide receiver bubble screens and then they do so many tight end screens. It's nauseating, but they kind of had to against this Cardinals team who is just like blitzes maybe every other play. I mean, this is the most aggressive defense I've seen this year in any of the games I've watched. The Cardinals defense will blitz on 1st and 10, 3rd and 2, 2nd and 8. It doesn't matter. They're blitzing with like 9 guys at all times. So I think the Eagles also saw that when they were looking at this game and just were like, screens are the way to go. They were not the way to go. This was a frustrating game to watch, but Jalen Hurts had some crazy good throws, crazy good runs. Like he's now throwing with anticipation, and he was 26 for 36, 239, but really his was rushing on this one. Unlike last week where they were down 14-0, they got up 14-0. And yeah, this Eagles team again finds a different way to win the game. There's a picture out there where the Cardinals kicker did not shank this kick. One of the Eagles actually got a hand on it and like deflected the kick. So, but even then, that would have just been a tie game. And I really think the Eagles, I don't think they were losing this game. Just how they played the Cardinals, they contained Kyler Murray for basically the whole game. He was running for his life. He had 4 carries for 42 yards, but really it was the scrambling to try to get people open. Like he started picking them apart at the end, but you could tell he was just tired. They were chasing him all over the field. Right. And yeah.
Sounds like we have one last game. Let's kind of rush through that one, and then we'll talk about all the fun things. Maybe we could do like a special segment tomorrow, or we can tack it on to Thursday. I can hear my kid starting to get up. So Monday night game. overshadowed by another bad call or good call. Who knows? But it
This
was
one you said you
controversial.
could defend. What can you
Yeah, it's
defend about that call, Casino?
because he still lands on the quarterback. So this
Yeah.
is my thought. What could it have been where because he got possession of the football? By the way, we're talking for those who don't know, we're talking about last night's game.
Raiders
Against the
Chiefs.
Raiders Chiefs. So Chiefs player strip sack, lands on Carr, but he possessed the football before landing on Carr. But by definition, that was a roughing the passer because he landed almost all of his body weight on him.
Yep.
But so that I agree with the call. I don't agree with the call. I still think it should have been Chiefs football because he did get the football before he landed on the quarterback.
Yeah, it's weird how those two things offset. I don't think that should be the case. That's just weird. How when you get a roughing the passer call, it like erases that play, which I guess makes sense, but it also feels like why wouldn't Kansas City get the ball and then it'd be 15 yards from there? That just seems like a weird, but
yeah, I didn't. So that's where I'm with it. I agree with the roughing the passer call on that one. I do. He landed on him. He's a big dude, all of his weight. Carr was sideways, shoulder to shoulder, squished in. He landed on him. That's a roughing the passer. I don't care what you say about it. It was roughing the passer. But he did have full possession of that football before he landed on Carr.
Yeah.
And I think he wouldn't have landed on Carr if he was able to have both hands down to stop himself, but he had the football.
Yeah. I pretty much agree with everything you're saying. Yeah. This is a lot less egregious of a call than the Tampa Bay Falcons one.
And then, but here's the crazy thing. This is why I'm just shocked with coaches. I'm wearing my Andy Reid shirt today. Why did they go for 2? Why did Chiefs go for 2 when they would have been up 8? If they kicked the field goal, they would have been up 8. So yes, they had to go down, and the Raiders would have to go down, kick, score a touchdown, and get a 2-point conversion to tie.
Yep.
So they basically gave you an overtime chance, and then so you go down, you score the touchdown, and you try to go for 2 instead of making it a tie game. And here's the thing: I understand the argument. Some people are trying to say, okay, well, he's trying to, be aggressive, win the game. Stupid move, because this is what could have happened, and almost did happen. You go down, and say you did kick the field goal, and it's 30-30 or whatever. Yeah, 30. Yeah, it would have been 30-30. You go down, you kick the field goal, or you had to stop. They had to stop that offense regardless. The Raiders had to stop the Chiefs offense regardless, whether it was tied or not. But if it was 30-30, the Chiefs would actually have to get in range, get the field goal for the win. But when you gave them that extra point by going for 2 and not kicking the extra point, all they had to do was just get some first downs, and then they'll run out the clock, and they would win by 1.
Yep. No, and then what is it? That stupid. The Raiders were the ones that went for 2 as well, right? With the Josh Jacobs, where he was like first off, how was that not in? That seemed like he crossed the goal line. Are they saying his knees were down? Or are they saying he didn't cross the plane?
His knee was down before it crossed the plane.
I don't know, man. That looked real. I don't know why they didn't challenge that. Maybe it would have been.
It was inside 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. I don't know, man. That looked real fishy to me.
Review. It went under official review.
That I don't see how he didn't get it. But again, Casino, are the Bills are obviously the best team in the AFC. You think the Chiefs are the number 2 team in the AFC?
Yes.
And my question is, there's going to be a team that is able to take Kelsey out of the game. What does Mahomes do then? Because their entire offense looks like it's Clyde's Edward-Helaire, who had an average game.
That's your answer.
So you think they lean towards the running game?
They're going to run game or do option plays and pass to him on the slants or, dump passes on the outside. Like there's not. Yeah, you take Kelsey out of that game, he's going to struggle a bit, and he's going to be a lot when he goes into his scrambles, which is 90% of the time. He's looking for the biggest target on that field. Kelsey.
Yeah. My favorite guy, Valdez Scantling, got 6 for 90. McCole Hardman had 4 for 73, and then Juju Smith-Schuster 3 for 33. What happened to Juju? I thought he was like the best Steelers wide receiver since Antonio Brown.
But hey, those receptions were clutch for him, though.
I mean, yeah. But that was basically the Travis Kelce game. The Chiefs fans are the worst. They haven't been relevant since the 60s, and all of a sudden they get one Super Bowl and they just act like they're the best team that's ever like existed. Their fans are garbage. This is like the 90th example we've had of Chiefs fans just being garbage, like throwing shit at players running off the field. Like
real quick, just to touch on the last thing of this game before I gotta go, is what about Davante Adams chucking that reporter?
Well, and then of course he went and after I always love this when somebody does some bullshit like that, and then after the game they go like, I'm really sorry for that. That's not who I am. I just messed up. And it's just like, the guy was clearly right in front of you. You could have either stopped or walk around him. It's not like the guy ran into you and you pushed him off. You basically walked into him and then just shoved him out of the way. Like, dick move. Yeah. You're an asshole. He'll probably be suspended.
That's a suspension for sure.
At least, I think it's at least 2 games. I really do.
If it's 1, it's laughable. It has to be 2.
Yeah.
Josh McDaniels, question to you. Is he out?
Yes. I don't think he's an NFL head coach. I think he's
a coordinator. Talked about this. He's going to college.
I think he goes to college as well. Do you think he goes back to being a coordinator for the Patriots?
I wouldn't hate it. I hate him, but I wouldn't hate it because I would take him over Matt Patricia calling plays.
I mean, I don't think that's any Casino. I don't think there's much to talk about Ravens Bengals. Last thing, and then I'll get you out of here. Cowboys Rams was the big game of the week. Now everybody's picking, Cowboys to beat Eagles next week. Is the Cowboys defense legit, or are the Rams just bad and we refuse to admit they're bad?
I think the Rams are bad and we refuse to admit that they're bad.
I think they have the same problems the Bengals do, which is just they have no offensive line. They have a subpar running back, and their quarterback just has no time to throw. Matthew Stafford in every game now is just getting the shit kicked out of him, and then he has no time to throw.
Yeah. I mean, it's what I've been watching in New England since Brady left. Pretty much we have no O-line, and 2 of our quarterbacks are out because of blind sides.
Yeah. And I mean, Matthew Stafford took some hits in this game. It was brutal to watch. Also, last thing on this game, then I'll let you go. Is there an actual quarterback controversy with Cooper Rush and Dak Prescott? 100%. You think so?
I do. I mean, well, here's the thing. Dak's going to get the play. He's going to get the start. They're paying him too much money. We've been over this. He's getting paid way too much money. He's going to be their starting quarterback. However, Cooper Rush, I think, is the guy you're winning. The fans want him in.
But he threw for 102 yards.
Doesn't matter. What happened? What do they care about? What do you care about? He controlled the game.
I mean, yeah.
He didn't make the mistake. He didn't make the mistake to lose.
True. All right.
Which Casino, most rookie quarterbacks do.
Yeah. Casino has to go. That was our week 5 NFL recap. I'll give you my top 10. We'll do NHL. We'll do MLB playoffs on Thursday. We'll also predict this weekend's games. Casino, say goodbye to the people.
Adios. Goodbye, my people.
All right. This has been the Only Sports Podcast. I'm Will. As always, that's Casino wearing his best Andy Reid attire. And yeah, we'll see you on Thursday.